Welcome to War Bios, the podcast that delves into the most pivotal conflicts in history, where strategy, leadership, and circumstance converge to shape the course of human events. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to explore one of the most critical battles in American history, the Battle of Fort Sumter. This iconic conflict marked the beginning of the American Civil War, a clash that would test the very fabric of the United States and redefine the nation's understanding of itself. The Battle of Fort Sumter is often seen as a spark that ignited a powder keg of tensions between the northern and southern states. But to truly understand its significance, we must examine the complex web of historical events that led to this fateful confrontation. The seeds of conflict were sown decades earlier, in the early 19th century, when the United States was still grappling with the consequences of its westward expansion. In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase had doubled the size of the United States, incorporating vast territories and diverse populations into the young nation. However, this expansion also created new challenges, particularly with regards to the institution of slavery. The Missouri Compromise of 1820 attempted to balance the power between slaveholding and free states, but it ultimately failed to address the underlying tensions. As the years passed, the debate over slavery grew more heated, with abolitionists like William Lloyd Garrison and Frederick Douglass advocating for its immediate end, while pro-slavery advocates like John C. Calhoun and Jefferson Davis defended the institution as a vital part of Southern culture and economy. The nullification crisis of 1832, in which South Carolina attempted to nullify federal tariffs, had set a precedent for Southern states to challenge federal authority. The Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854, which allowed new states to decide whether to allow slavery, further polarized the country. The Dred Scott decision of 1857, which ruled that slaves were not citizens and had no right to sue in court, only added fuel to the fire. The Lincoln-Douglas debates of 1858, in which Abraham Lincoln and Stephen Douglas clashed over the future of slavery, highlighted the deep divisions within the nation. In the spring of 1861, the newly formed Confederate States of America began to take control of federal property within their territories, including forts and arsenals. However, Fort Sumter remained under Union control, its garrison commanded by Major Robert Anderson, a seasoned military officer with a deep understanding of the strategic importance of the fort. As tensions escalated, it became clear that the fate of Fort Sumter would be a critical test of the Confederacy's resolve and the Union's determination to preserve the unity of the country. The city of Charleston, with its rich history and cultural significance, was abuzz with activity as the conflict drew near. The streets were filled with soldiers, politicians, and ordinary citizens, all eager to make their voices heard. The harbor, with its bustling port and majestic ships, was a testament to the city's importance in the global economy. As the Union and Confederate forces faced off, the stage was set for a clash that would change the course of American history forever. With this historical context in mind, we've set the stage for the pivotal events that will unfold at Fort Sumter. The seeds of conflict have been sown, and the battle lines are being drawn. As the Confederate forces, under the command of General P.G.T.T. Beauregard, begin to bombard Fort Sumter, the Union garrison, led by Major Robert Anderson, prepares to defend their position. The fort, with its strategic location controlling access to the harbor, is a crucial prize for both sides. The Confederates see it as a symbol of federal authority, while the Union views it as a vital stronghold in the South. The bombardment of Fort Sumter is a spectacle unlike anything seen before in American history. The sound of cannons firing, the smell of gunpowder filling the air, and the sight of explosions rocking the fort create an atmosphere of chaos and destruction. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the Union garrison holds its ground, returning fire and inflicting significant damage on the Confederate forces. As the battle rages on, the strategic vision of the commanders becomes clear. General Beauregard, aware of the fort's vulnerabilities, targets its walls and bastions, attempting to weaken its defenses. Meanwhile, Major Anderson, knowing that his garrison is outnumbered, relies on the fort's sturdy construction and the bravery of his men to hold off the Confederate onslaught. The tactical innovations employed during the battle are noteworthy. The Confederates use a combination of artillery and infantry attacks, trying to break through the fort's defenses. In response, the Union garrison utilizes its own artillery, as well as rifle fire, to repel the attackers. The battle is a testament to the ingenuity and adaptability of the soldiers involved. As the days pass, the human cost of the battle becomes apparent. The Union garrison suffers significant casualties, with several men killed or wounded. The Confederates also suffer losses, but their superior numbers and firepower ultimately give them the upper hand. On April 13, 1861, after 34 hours of bombardment, Major Anderson is forced to surrender, marking a decisive victory for the Confederacy. The fall of Fort Sumter sends shockwaves throughout the nation. The battle marks the beginning of the American Civil War, a conflict that will last 4 years and claim the lives of over 600,000 soldiers. It also sets the stage for the war's bloody and devastating trajectory, as brother fights against brother, and the very fabric of the United States is torn apart. As we reflect on the Battle of Fort Sumter, we are reminded of the complexities and nuances of history. The battle was not just a clash of arms, it was a clash of ideologies, cultures, and worldviews. It marked a turning point in American history, one that would have far-reaching consequences for generations to come. In the immediate aftermath of the battle, the Confederates occupied Fort Sumter, and it became a symbol of their rebellion against the United States. The fort's capture was seen as a significant blow to the Union, and it emboldened other Southern states to secede. Over the next few months, 10 more states would join the Confederacy, leading to the formation of the Confederate States of America. As the war spread across the country, Fort Sumter remained a crucial stronghold for the Confederates. They used it as a base to launch attacks on Union ships and to defend against Union attempts to retake the fort. The Union, however, was determined to reclaim the fort and restore federal authority in the South. In 1863, Union forces launched a series of attacks on Charleston, including a siege of Fort Sumter that lasted for 22 months. The siege of Fort Sumter was one of the longest and most brutal of the Civil War. The Union Army, under the command of General Quincy Adams Gillmore, bombarded the fort with artillery fire, while the Confederates, led by General P.G.T. Beauregard, defended it with everything they had. The siege was marked by numerous attempts to breach the fort's defenses, including a failed assault by Union troops in September 1863. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the Confederate garrison held out for nearly 2 years, but eventually they were forced to surrender on February 17, 1865. The fall of Fort Sumter marked a significant turning point in the war, as it gave the Union control of the harbor at Charleston and paved the way for the eventual defeat of the Confederacy. The Battle of Fort Sumter had a profound impact on American society. It marked the beginning of the Civil War, which would go on to claim the lives of over 600,000 soldiers and civilians. The war also led to the abolition of slavery, as the Emancipation Proclamation, issued by President Abraham Lincoln in 1863, declared all slaves in Confederate territory to be free. Today, Fort Sumter is a national monument, commemorating the events that took place there during the Civil War. It serves as a reminder of the sacrifices made by soldiers on both sides and the enduring legacy of the conflict. The fort has been restored to its original appearance, and it features a museum and exhibits that tell the story of the battle and its significance in American history. As we reflect on the Battle of Fort Sumter, we are reminded of the complexities and nuances of history. The battle was not just a clash of arms, it was a clash of ideologies, cultures, and worldviews. It marked a turning point in American history, one that would have far-reaching consequences for generations to come. The story of Fort Sumter is one of courage, sacrifice, and transformation, and it continues to shape American society today. In conclusion, the decline and aftermath of the Battle of Fort Sumter marked a significant chapter in American history. The battle's impact was felt across the nation, leading to the spread of the Civil War and ultimately contributing to the abolition of slavery. Today, Fort Sumter stands as a testament to the enduring legacy of the conflict, serving as a reminder of the sacrifices made by soldiers on both sides and the ongoing struggle for freedom and equality in America. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.